Hello, and thank you for joining us for Supreme Feminine Essence, the gifts you were born with. I'm Mia Saenz, your host, and with me this segment is Maureen Simon. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be with you today.
It's amazing to have you here. I'd really like us to get into all the goodies that you have, but I want you to share with us, please, your journey of how you got to where you are. It's so rich because people realize, oh, I can transform too. I can do this. I can do that. We learn experientially, and so that's why I love to include the journey.
The journey that I traveled to get to the point where I'm now directing the Essential Feminine Company and doing private consulting and have written a book is a journey that really made me realize that women need to understand our natural assets and gifts. And these ventures that I just described came out of that as a direct outcome of realizing that so frequently we don't own our gifts, and so frequently we stand back and say, who are we? Where can I be more confident? What is it that I really have in the way of assets? And so it became very clear to me that unless we understood who we truly are, we would never really be able to lead in the way we're now being called forward to lead. So I think it started first when my dad, this wonderful Irishman, said to me, you know, you're a bright, sparky little girl, and I see that a lot of the girls around you are very reserved. I don't want your flame to go out. I want you to really live. I want you to become alive. I want you to give the gifts you have. So probably my dad, you know, he was very eager to let me know that the world needs bright, sparky, fun people, and you're a woman, so go do it. So it went back a ways. I'd look around and everybody was timid. I found many women not able to really come forth and say who they are and what their gifts are, and it became a mission for me at that point.
That's awesome. My brother actually turned my journey around by saying that too. He said, you've always been passionate. Please don't lose it. I lost it. We were in our 20s. And so when I regained my passion and changed my life and had my awakening and all that, that was the thing that brought me to realizing I have this gift and I'm going to utilize it. I have to rediscover it perhaps, but it's mine.
It's in there. Yeah.
That's
I get
totally awesome. Well, I love the work that we've talked about before that you do. It's such a blessing, and you're so sweet and sincere and loving, and there are so many, it's funny because I always tell people, well, I know I'm not for everybody, but I am for a percentage of people. So whoever we connect with is totally perfect for each individual, and it's so lovely. So can you share with us, what is the Essential Feminine?
Well, the Essential Feminine is a philosophy and a way of life that has come out of my own personal learnings about the strengths that I have, that I learned the world needed. The Essential Feminine is, maybe if we look back over history, the part of the feminine that went to sleep, the part of the feminine that got hung, the part of the feminine that was afraid to show up. It's the Essential Feminine that is in both men and women, that we as women hold in a great, 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 great capacity and a great abundant amount of this feminine energy, because we are predisposed based on a couple of things. Our brain biology, which affects the hormones and the whole way the body differentiates from a male brain and a male physique. And also the socialization, like it or not, we've really learned a lot of care, compassion. We've learned a lot of really being able to hold place for others to grow. The capacity to use our brain in different ways that allow for more creativity and collaboration in many of the writings. Helen Fisher was a great teacher and a colleague of mine that I'm grateful for. And that was some of the work she did as an anthropologist. So there's a lot of history telling us that we've got all this juice. And the Essential Feminine is really the essence of it. So I researched for about a year and a half the 26 attributes that we hold as women that the world needs. And emotional expressivity, collaboration, the way we use power with as opposed to power over are just a small sprinkling of that. So, and the way we think, there's just so many differences that are very powerful that the feminine brain and the socialization of the feminine holds. So that's the feminine, Essential Feminine is really a way of life and a philosophy that we begin to claim these attributes and live them in the world in a way that we can make a contribution in the world where these have been gaps in the past.
I love that you came up with 26. It's half of a year, and it's perfect for women. We always seem to go in 6-month cycles.
Yeah.
You know, we're ending spring, going into, or ending winter, going into spring, and just beginning summer, and boom, we change again into, I mean, it's split perfectly for the goddess. And I don't normally use the word goddess, even though I love, you know, that others feel free to use it, but it's perfect. It feels very right on. And I'm a numbers person, so I instantly, when you said 26, I'm like, that's half of our year. So.
That's great. I mean, I haven't really thought of it that way. These are powerful little gems, you know. So the more that we learn about these gifts, the more we can place them in the world in a way that makes a difference. But that's great to break it down into the 26 and have it divide out that way. I hadn't thought about it
that way, because a year is sometimes feels daunting, and a half a year is perfect. And I apologize for bringing my notes across the
okay, I
camera.
saw that. We have a
But
cat here
hey,
somewhere.
you know, it's okay.
It's okay. I know you're still there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you share with us the philosophy behind your book, Awakening the Essential Feminine, Claiming Your Influential Power? How strong is that?
Yeah,
Wow.
we got most of the words in there. Awakening the essential feminine is to awaken her, to awaken what has slept, to awaken what has not come alive within us, to awaken that potential that lays dormant. And in the areas of the way we think, the way we express emotions, the way we collaborate, the way we use power, the way we live in general, is that opportunity. So we just need to know that we have these attributes. And the book, Awakening the Essential Feminine, Claiming Your Influential Power, really breaks them down into a step-by-step, very clear outline. So, and gives you questions as to how and what you could do today to awaken this attribute, this specific attribute you're reading about. So the idea of awakening the essential feminine is just, it's a guide. It's a guide to bring you awake in all the areas of your life that you now need to awaken in, to be a full woman, contributing at your optimum, earning at your optimum, and living really well. Well, we realized awakening the essential feminine is lovely, but we wanted to give it a very clear reason as to why that might be useful. So we titled it Claiming Your Influential Power. Because if we don't claim our influence and power right now, we're operating on half cylinders in a lot of the tables where decisions are being made. So we need to wake up and actually bring this energy alive. So that's the part where the title also included claiming your influence and power. And that's just about the influence that we have that needs to be expressed for this world to create a balance and live in a harmonious way. It's off gear. I mean, even when I look at the statistics, for women leading boards, I think in the UK it's 9, and here it's like 9 or 8. The skewing is massive. The rate pay is still only around 78% on a dollar in terms of equity. So these are things that are pretty ridiculous, but what it symbolizes, is that feminine essence is not showing up, and that feminine beautiful side of thinking, living, being, looking after the whole, looking after what was birthed in a way that is very intimate, is not being represented at the tables where decisions are being made in our world. And that's where we're skewed. So that's why awakening the essential feminine, and that's really why claiming your influential power is something we each need to do today.
Mm-hmm.
Greatly.
Wonderful. The Dalai Lama talks about the Western woman changing our world, that it's basically all in our hands, more or less.
I know, that's what I've read that more than once.
Yeah.
And one of the key people at the United Nations, I forgot his name, I saw it on a plaque on the wall once, and I was like, it's up to us, ladies, and if we get it right. And so I like the fact that I was able to take the time to list these attributes, because I think it's the first time a lot of my major sisters and players in the feminine have said they've ever seen it in one place. Andrew Harvey, I was talking to him the other day, and he goes, we've got to get these so that people can read them, because it's the first time anybody's taken time to put them in one place. Ariana Huffington was also intrigued by the idea that they're together. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to read them, and you can move through the world knowing them. Yeah. So that's what the book's about.
Mm-hmm. Do we need, in your opinion, and this just popped in my head, do we need to, I understand, and partly why I'm doing these type of summits and this type of work is not just for the women, but it's to empower the man too. In our grace, as we rise to our glory, we bring them along, and they feel confident and safe. Do you feel that we need to write books? It just popped in my head. We should be training our men more.
That's coming now.
Yeah. I know moms do, but, you know.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, when I was writing the book a couple of years back, I felt that there was really a strong need for women to lead in the attributes that they're predisposed to, because that's where the void is. And so I spent quite a lot of time working on that. I still consult with women because I realize that there's kind of a limp in that area. It's not that strong. We really need to equalize it. That's my particular niche, and it's been for most of my life. But I'm seeing a lot of my sisters pick up on the male side and start to work with men. And I just have a preference, and I have a strength in getting women's businesses extremely powerfully successful. So that's what I like to do. But we are now seeing more and more, as I know, see that the men and the boys are really ready. They're chomping at the bit. They're like, even the book. Men interviews. They interview me and say, what is this about? You know, so the curiosity is sparked, but we still need to lead our side where we're strong and predisposed in the feminine.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So Maureen, share with us, please. Do you feel women are in a unique position to lead this world towards greater harmony?
Oh yeah, no doubt. See, what happens is when we're the givers of life, we're sharing that responsibility. There is a seed, and it takes two. So I think the idea that we are in a particularly strong position to create for this whole planet a possibility of honoring life, honoring potential. It's just in the nature of the feminine. And again, a man and a woman can each do that. It doesn't take just a woman. But I like speaking to the women about it because of their predisposed nature. So as we move more towards the ability to see the strength and hold the strength that we have, sit at tables where violent conflict decisions are being made, we might take a different path, wouldn't we, in the way of what might happen. Not every woman, but many, many, many women would probably not want as many minefields. They probably would not want as many of their sons and daughters going off to war. So it's in our nature, but it goes beyond that. There's many reasons. The way that we collaborate and look after the whole is another reason. We really want to see the whole benefit. We want to see each person live a life of equity and fairness. It's in the nature of the female brain. So the idea that we are creating disharmony across the world is just something that isn't it's just not a natural extension of the feminine.
Right. Share with us, please, why are women great leaders and business people?
Well, women, again, I love the idea of some of the research that was done with Gilligan and some of the women way back around the web. If you think about it, a woman, just think about meeting women out. The first thing they want to do is say, where did you get that? What do you, is that the color? I haven't seen that color. And we really learn how to bring each other to a place of sincere and natural inquiry. We also listen to each other and have the ability to create open dialogue, which is huge. It's absolutely huge. So if you think about some of the earlier work of Gilligan and some of the great researchers of the feminine back in the 80s, they started looking at the web, and the web is something that we create so that others can be included. We may have a leader in the middle, but we've all moved far from the autocratic leadership that we knew of after the wars. Businesses were being set up and someone had to lead them. Go lead it. Right. And so that created this definite triangle with the autocratic leadership. Here in the feminine, we're looking more at a collective, more information from more sources. we're looking at hubs. I mean, if you look at some of the hubs that are setting up in the city, that's a feminine model where we're working together collaboratively to support each other's businesses. So this is a philosophy that comes from feminine nature. And it's something that we need more of. And so my thought is that when women are at the helm of a business, they engage people more. They are with interest with power, as I said earlier, power with as opposed to power over. They are interested in getting more opinions, including you. Inclusivity is a huge feminine attribute. Emotional expressivity is allowed. So that's a piece that's on the feminine side of a man or a woman. The emotional expressivity that we have is something that we allow ourselves to open up and show more vulnerability. That's a very feminine attribute. When you think about it, business is more successful when people are engaged, they're involved, there's collaboration, and these are all feminine attributes. There was a study done, it's getting a little bit dated, but it hasn't changed. It's been reviewed and over the years, it's a Catalyst study by Catalyst, and they actually noticed that women that were the heads of corporations, it's about 9 years ago, yielded I think it was an 18% greater return on investment, ROI, for the companies that they were leading as compared to comparable companies. So this is where it shows up. It shows up in the bottom line.
You're talking also about the sisterhood that's so beautiful, among women. There is such a powerful strength there. We love men, but we are really, really sufficient.
I know. And it's funny. It's sufficient. Well, that was a great way to say it, because we really are able to definitely understand each other. There is a silent nod. Yes, this is what we're doing. And I'm seeing in the last 3 to 4 years this well, it's not even a resurgence. It's a new found connection that it's just like, I think even since I wrote the book in 2000, a couple of years back, the book was written. Even since then, I'm seeing this huge movement towards women really wanting to really engage actively and assertively in business, to support each other, to create alliances. I mean, the phone calls I get each week with women all over the world that are sparked by the book or doing something on their own, our conversation, it's just endless. It's growing strong.
It's beautiful.
And,
and as women, part of our feminine glory and essence is supporting each other and loving being in the sisterhood, because there's truly nothing more glorious than women and their, like you said, at one moment it's, I've never seen that color, where'd you get that, to actually leading, 20 men at work. It's so brilliant that we can be so diverse, and that's who we are.
Yeah, and that actual question about engaging you on a color you have on is something that I'm seeing, because I do a lot of work within corporations. I live near the Silicon Valley and also do a lot of work in Europe. And I'm seeing that this is becoming commonplace among women and the way they lead within companies. Yeah. So what do you think might happen there? Maybe we'll see a universal shift. Yeah. That's one thing we're working on.
Yeah. And the collaboration it opens up doors like crazy when women get together. It's amazing. My mind is just flying on, because I meet women all the time. And now, because, we always bring in who we are. So I'm bringing in these fabulous women that are just so gifted and so talented, and as a messenger of messages, which is what I consider myself, getting out other people's messages. It's just, there's so many beautiful things out there that I've seen. It's just, I love being a woman. I believe I've always been a woman, in every incarnation. And it's just really beautiful. So
it's also really nice that you're focusing on getting women together of like mind and creating opportunities for people to really see. Through a summit, you really do get to see the intensity of that power.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's one reason why I do these. They're a lot of work, but they're incredibly satisfying to have people just come to you. The unity is beautiful. So thank you for recognizing that.
Love it.
That. Yeah, thank you. How specifically do you work with, well, I know specifically you work with people, but can you share with us some of the ways in which you work with people?
Sure. A lot of what we do at the Essential Feminine Company is we do mastermind courses and courses that get women really clear on what it is they're here for. A lot of that is around divine destiny. And then we move into an area that I've been working in for a number of years called Redefining Success. And then we do masterminds. That's on our online courses for women. And then I personally work with a limited number of women individually each year. It's a smaller number, quite small. But women who are interested in really looking at what they're here for, why they're here, and creating business or working within a company to create that message or that business that aligns so much with their values. And the women I work with are interested in creating very high levels of success. So they already really realize they have a gift, and now they want to take it right through the sky. And so I work privately with them in my consulting business. And in that I sit down, listen to what their business is about, listen to what their vision is, listen to their objectives, and we sculpt some of the most interesting businesses in the world. And I'm seeing massive success financially. So it's a matter of really guiding women through the next steps of their business, getting them very focused and watching that success occur.
That's wonderful.
And they come back over years. So it's great to see it over years, because women will return and say, I need a brush up now. And then we'll do 3 months and they'll be like, great, thank you. And it's a huge number of women over the last 15 years I've done this with. And it's getting more exciting because the numbers are getting bigger and the women are taking greater risks. So we're creating greater deals, and we're also creating bigger businesses, but it's not about the size. It's about the fact that women are not as afraid of making substantial money. We're moving into the bigger game. It's great fun.
Is your thought process at all that when you love what you're doing, you're highly successful?
I just can't see it any other way.
Okay, good.
Because success, when we redefine it, and the reason we're redefining it, and I was talking to Ariane Huffington about this with one of her new books, and it's like people kill themselves. Like she nearly killed herself in her work, and they have to stop and they have to look at what success means. And success is not defined by something that's outside of us, by the bank account or the cars. That might sound a little obvious, but we still run on the hamster wheel for that one. It has to come from the qualities that we want to create in our life. And those qualities are totally obtainable when we know what they are. We can live our lives having feelings that we've already experienced it. We step into that, and then we really start seeing all kinds of success follow. But the intention is to do something meaningful, is to love our day, is to wake up, have time for our families, is to know when to say no. I do a lot of that in my hand-holding. As we look at the numbers and we look at the finances and we look at the growth and potential growth of a business, it's parallel. This whole other area, the inner, is equally on the table.
That's wonderful. That really is. It's amazing how so many women, at least what I've come in contact with, are really stepping outside of the normal realm of what work looks like for them. To create these businesses, to just say, I love doing this and I don't want to work for somebody else. I personally can't imagine working, I've been a nurse, I was a banker, an art broker, also in San Francisco. A lot of different things that I just cannot even imagine. And I guess that's because my passion, my desire, my love is not, even though I like money, and the idea of the energy behind banking, and I love art and that stuff, I just cannot imagine being anything other than what I'm doing. I guess it's denying who I am if I didn't partake and move forward in the path that I see.
Yeah, no, when you know, and in a sense we're very, very blessed to both know, but I don't stop with the women who don't know. I really want to get them clear, because unless they can get to the place that you and I are expressing here today, they keep diverting into places that really are truly diversions. So we have to learn what that expression of our particular gifts are, and once we do, it's like you said, you become unemployable. There's no going back. You become someone who really does need to carry this gift out in the world. And I think that's a fabulous place to be. Bravo.
Yeah, it is awesome. Will you share with us your gift you have for us?
Yeah, I do.
It's awesome.
We did a course, and I wanted to share it with everyone and get them thinking about it ahead. What we have for everyone today is a course on the topic. This is a fun topic. Earn what you're worth. Now, this is a women's issue, right?
Yes.
So I've got a formula I put together, and I love these formulas. I find people need things that they can walk away with and go, okay, I could check this off. So we created this amazing course called Earn What You're Worth, and we're going to we're creating a space where our group today can actually go from the summit right to the course and take a look at it and start doing some of the work. My wish for the women that do it is that they'll realize that they're very valuable. Even if they don't have the exact saying of what they do in a soundbite, like you and I are really happy to be able to do at this moment. We spend a lot of time working on that. And I want to make sure that they do the same, and they earn what they're worth, and they value who they are. And so this course will be a nice little nugget. They can sit down, cup of tea, headset, and just take a little journey to work a little bit more deeply towards earning what they're worth.
And it seems from our talks, yours and my talk before, in our pre-show interview and stuff, it seems like there must be so much with women in the lack of, or belief that they are lacking in some type of worthiness to earn this, or self-confidence, or self-love, or something is a block there.
It differs. I mean, it differs with each woman that I work with, or each woman that will go through that course. They'll have a reason that creates the stop, but it will be different. Some have been abused. Some are just maybe did something big and failed. I've had failure. I've had to stop the show and start over. So, I mean, it's different for different women, but you're right. Often we have timidity that isn't necessary. And what I want women to do is be so clear about what they do well, delegate the rest, and really move on with creating something that can bring in substantial income for the reimbursement of their gifts. If they choose to align their work with their talents, which a lot of the women I work with do.
Which really, if you want to live a inspirational life that you've created, you do find what you like. You know, they say, I remember hearing years ago, if you love making quilts, you'll be making the darn best quilts there are and selling them to great stores. That, you know, your business will. I picked that because that's kind of obscure.
Yeah.
But if you're really, really good at it and your heart is in it and you love it, you can make a living at what you love. You absolutely can. There are a lot of women that I know that are different healers and stuff like me. And unfortunately, they seem to have to also have a regular 9 to 5 or something. And that breaks my heart, because when you love what you do and you're good at it, you really should be able to provide for yourself. Would I like to earn more money? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to.
But you know, the other side of that is we have to learn business.
Right.
I mean, a lot of what I've spent my life learning is how to create business so that business does pay bills and does allow you to have abundance. But that's part of it. So it's the business, it's the art that you have, and it's the vision, all combined, that create these amazingly successful businesses.
Also, I also want to state that perhaps, and now every person is an individual, but it also is how we see ourselves, or how we will see ourselves, that we can earn, and we don't have to be fearful. I hear so many women talking about the fear of money, and also part of it is getting rid of that fear that we can't, you know, as women, provide for ourselves. We can, and it's so amazing. We're out of time, and this has been so lovely, thank you. What would you like to leave the audience with from your heart?
I would like to leave the audience with my wish for them to always know that the grass will turn green, to always know that the sun will shine, to always know that whatever moment they're in right now will pass. This too shall pass. And to have a vision in front of them that they, like you say, they don't need to have check-in on every day and every minute. It's always good to do that, but just know it. Know why you're here and move your life in that direction, and everything else will fill in for you.
Mm-hmm. And it moves fast, doesn't it?
It does move fast.
When you open up your heart and your mind to that, and your spiritual essence, or whatever, your feminine beauty, it just pours in like a tidal wave. It's beautiful.
It's great. It's a great life, and we have our ups and downs, but keep our eyes on the light, and it'll all come together.
I love that. Thank you so much, Maureen. This has been an awesome interview. I love it. The energy is so awesome.
It's been great, and I'm here for whatever. And check out Earn What You're Worth. It's a really fun little journey.
This has been awesome. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in another segment. Bye.
Bye-bye.